Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Truth Will Set You Free show. I'm your host, Linda Diane Wattley, and this show is brought to you by TLBTV and the Liberty Beacon Project. And you know how I love my guests. I have a very special guest for us tonight. Her name is Cornelia or Connie.
You can call me Connie, that's fine.
Okay, Jude.
Yes.
And she is such an open person. She has a lot to share today. And I can't wait to get on to talk about her amazing book that's due to come out when it's going to come out?
It's published now. You can get it through my website, which is www.mendedfaith.com. And hopefully later on today, you can get your e-copy on Amazon for Nook and Kindle and all that good stuff. Nationwide bookstores, we're going to hit on September 18th of this year.
Okay, Mended Faith.
Yes.
How did you come up with Mended Faith? Because like we were saying earlier, we was just surviving. So how did you realize that your faith needed mending?
I realized that if I mend my faith, there's a chance that I can be mended. And it was a lot of mending, but it really did go together like that. I had to mend my faith and for me to be mended. So
when you say your faith, what are you mainly talking about?
I'm talking about that I had no relationship with God at all before. And it's really crazy how that all came about. And I was always driving to work, and I passed this church every day on my way to work. And it was the sign. It just said, come in, come in. And I ignored it for a while, and I was like, I'm not going to church. I was one of those people that said, yeah, it's going to go up flames if I walk into that church. So that urge to go into that church it got so strong. And then I was like, you know something, I am going to try this. And I haven't left that church ever since.
What's the name of it?
It's Upward Church. We are an online church, but we have campuses in different locations. I have one in Florida and 2 here in Virginia.
So was one of the ministers that did the beginning of your book, do he go there?
Yes, he is our lead pastor.
He did a great job on what he shared. Like he really grasped what you were trying to share and say. Especially being a man, I was really impressed with what he said.
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot of, we talked about it a lot. And it was just him and my whole church family praying me through so many crazy things.
In her book called Mended Faith, one of the things that stuck out with me was that your first encounter, you was between the age of 3 and 4.
Yes.
I want people to really understand your journey so they can understand how you can end up as joyous as you are today. Explain to them what happened to you between the age of 3 and 4.
Yeah, we had a family gathering, and there was a distant cousin of my dad's, and I've never seen him before. And he came to our house, and there were lots of people at our house. And I already felt uncomfortable because he kept rubbing my arm, and like, a lot of other men have rubbed my arm, but it never felt like this is weird. I'm not even sure how I, at 3 or 4, was even able to realize that this is wrong, the way he touches me. And he took complete advantage of me in my parents' house. And it was definitely a scary, scary experience for me. What was really crazy was that he gave me money to buy candy. And the second he gave me money, I felt like, oh, maybe he is nice after all.
Oh my God.
After everything that happened, right? And I felt like that was he wasn't that bad anymore. He called me Angel, and he gave me money to buy candy. And that kind of overshadowed what happened. I did not really realize what happened until I was 12, and it happened the second time. That's when all of that came back.
And it was two totally different situations. What people don't understand when she say happened, I mean, here it is. People was there, family,
Yes.
your parents, and you was up under the table. And
Yeah.
he was really kind of kinky.
Yes, very.
So
So it
we'll
was,
save that for the readers to find out what I mean by that.
yes. And
He
it
was
was,
really kinky.
yes. And I was stuck. I was completely stuck. I I don't know if it was shock. I just couldn't move. And that is exactly what happened when I was 12. I was stuck and I couldn't move. And it was that like paralyzed.
You know, something happened to you. I mean, to be at the age between 3 and 4, you know, you're not really saying right and wrong, good and bad, but you know when something that happened shouldn't have happened, but you can't scream about it. You can't, you know.
Yeah,
And so
nothing would come out.
forward, and then 9 years later,
Yes.
tell them about Rolf.
Yeah, he was my mom's boyfriend at the time. And at first, he was really nice. And he was always playing with me and my brother. And he was always, picking up food for us and all that stuff. And my mom had to go to work one night, and it got really late. And I was homesick. I was always sick because I had asthma. And he said he got this and he's going to watch me. He's going to take care of me. And she was super excited that he was willing to do that, And I fell asleep on the couch. I know I had a fever and I was just really, really, really sick. And my mom instructed him to put the Vicks vapor up on me, And I, the second he touched me, I knew I'm in trouble. I knew I was in trouble that moment because I just remembered somebody gross touching me. And that one was so bad that I actually blacked out. That's how stuck I was. I was stuck. I was paralyzed again. I remembered my dad's, distant cousin. I could see him and I blacked out. It was really intense.
And he got away with it for several years, didn't he?
10 years.
Wow.
10 years. He would come, all the time into my bedroom. And it was just really, he was very, very good at what he did, manipulating the whole situation. And he had me. He definitely did. And, after, a lot of people don't understand. And they're like, why didn't you tell somebody? Why did you not? The thing was, for me, after it happened a few times, you start feeling guilty.
Because you've been quiet so long.
Yeah. You feel like you're a part of this. So that was really, really hard. And then even when I felt like, okay, now I'm ready to talk about it, then I couldn't because the words would not come out. Every time I wanted to talk about it, I felt like I'm underwater, So it was really, really I had a few times where I felt like, okay, I need to talk to my mom. And then I want to do that, but words wouldn't even come out. I would not be able to talk about it.
I mean, how do you explain something like that, especially when it happened more than once?
Right. And the last time it happened, I was 22. And that was really, I felt really, that one really, really broke me and put me in a downward spiral because I didn't ask for it, but I planned to stay at my mom's house that night. I felt like, okay, I'm a mother now. I have a daughter. And I'm gonna take care of this now. I'm gonna be strong. And it's just gonna happen. And I'm gonna just scream. And then I can tell my mom, and that's it. And it did happen. And I was paralyzed. I couldn't do anything. So that one was like, I am a complete loser. How can
That
I
set you
even?
so low.
Yes. Yes.
And you said at the age of 12, you was drinking and sniffing glue that you can buy at Walmart or Target?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I was. I
And
mean, I
what did
tried
that do
everything.
for you actually that was profitable?
Um, it helped me to not think anything just for a little while.
The
You
glue?
know, the glue, like I didn't think about anything. It makes you kind of like, it's a really quick fix, you know? And we sniff it from me and a friend. We sniffed it from plastic bags, and that hits you so fast. And it was just like, you just sit around and you don't do anything for a little while.
Wow. So did you ever share that like with your friends? Did you have a cousin or anybody that you could talk to?
I didn't tell anybody. There was a couple people that a little bit mentioned something that, something happened, but I never went into detail
Right.
about what really happened. And then the thing is that I knew that I was out of control because of the situation that I was in. And when you are 12, 13, 14, 15, and you're sniffing glue, you're drinking, you're not coming home, you're sleeping at the park with some homeless people, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I knew nobody's going to believe me.
Wow.
Everybody's going to say, you are just one of those attention seeking teenagers. Well, you know what? Yes, that's what we do if we need attention. That is exactly what we do. So pay attention.
But you know what I found interesting, because I'm not going to tell the whole book because
Right.
it's something that they have to read, but what really got me was you steady trying to tell your family about Rolf,
Yeah.
but nobody heard you
Mm-mm.
all that time when you was telling them about Rolf.
Right.
Rolf was on a rampage for your family.
It
And
was. He really
he
was.
was a taker. He was taking whatever he wanted from whoever he wanted to take it from.
Yeah.
And it
He was
wasn't
really good.
until he crossed the line with your brother. And I'm not going to say what that was because I want you
Yes.
to read it. It
Yes.
wasn't until he crossed the line with your brother that you became a person.
Right.
Who is this person?
Uh, I don't know who that was. But yes, that was a blow to me though, because everybody, they knew and they were okay with my situation. But when he did what he did to my brother, then it was that big deal.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. It was interesting how they wanted you to be vocal then.
Yeah.
And then when you did, you couldn't win. You
No,
know?
no, there was no winning. There really wasn't. It was hard. It was a hard time for me.
I found it fascinating too how you had this great memory
Yeah.
and the way you were so detailed about your experience at the age of 3 between 4.
Hmm.
It was very obvious to me that you had PTSD.
Yeah, you have those flashbacks and it just comes back all the time. And I have to tell you that writing the book, when we first started the interviews for the book and all of that, I scheduled times where I would listen to music from like the early 80s and all that kind of stuff to just bring me to those places where I needed to go. It was my last visit to Germany. Do you know I went and took pictures of where I lived and all that kind of stuff. So Chris, he helped me. He co-authored the book. And so he can really see where that high rise was and how the sun hits it and all of that. It was intense, but I felt like that's what the readers need.
Well, he definitely did a great job in assisting with you being very visual about your experience. And what I really, really like about your book, it wasn't no pity party.
Mm-mm. It's not. And that's not what this is about at all. For me, it's, look, this is what happened, but look who you can be.
When you say you had a Christ experience, what do you mean by that?
When I had a what?
Christ experience.
It was, oh my, it was so good. Like I said, I started going to church, right? And I always say the devil fought me hard because I worked hard for him, right? So he was like, you're not going anywhere. You're going to keep working for me. So he made it really hard for me to stick with church. And that one day I was at church and, I prayed for my rapist there and I put him on the prayer board because I knew I have to forgive him to let him go. There was no other cut that can be made. As long as I hold on to the bitterness, I'm not going to be able to let him go. He's going to control me for the rest of my life if I don't make this cut. And I deserve this cut. Does he deserve it? I'm not the judge of that, but I deserve this. So after I forgave him at church, I had people praying with me for him. Like a week later, 2 weeks later, I was at church and I felt this touch to my heart. It was the most amazing feeling that I've ever had in my life. I was always guarding my heart. I always had these walls around my heart because I didn't want to feel that pain. I don't want to feel being stuck. I didn't want that anymore. And something touched my heart and it was just loving and it was gentle and it was just all over my body. And I was like, okay, I know this is Jesus and I will never let go of this feeling ever again. Never will I let go of this feeling ever again. And I fight for that every day.
That feeling?
Yes.
Is it like they were saying on crack, you can only get it once and they be going after it all the time? It's not like that, is it?
Oh, I have that all the time. And I pray for it every day. That never leaves me.
But you were saying you forgave your rapist. It was more than just one person involved that violated you. So it was only one person you needed to forgive out of two?
Oh no, I had to forgive a lot of people. But for him, I had to work hardest to find that. Yes, it took a few months. It wasn't like I said, oh, I'm just going to forgive him. Oh no, it was not easy at all. But I just really understood that holding on to hate, how can you fill your heart with love if it's half full of hate? Like, how is that possible? So I knew I have to empty my heart. I have to empty it. And that took, me taking responsibility. Like I say that it was harder to forgive myself for a lot of the things that I did than forgiving everybody else,
You said forgiving yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't, really the daughter that I needed to be or the sister that I wanted to be to my brother or even the mother that I always wanted to be to my children or the wife to my husband. I was always good for a little while, but then I crash again. And then I'm back on the Valium. I'm back in therapy. I am back drinking. And, it always pulls you back in. And I always say, and I'm so grateful for all the therapists that I had. And I was in inpatient therapy and outpatient therapy and all kinds of therapy. They helped me at the moment. And they helped me to keep my head above water but they didn't teach me how to swim.
Wow. They didn't teach you how to swim.
No.
Wow. And you've been through a lot from that experience because you had a baby.
Yes.
And it was another part in the story that I came with people to read when how they told you about your son Dennis.
Yeah,
I can't understand why they chose to do it in the way that they did.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
That is very crazy. I mean, I was just 18, and I don't know, but it was really, really terrible. And that is one thing in my life that is still, it still hits home all the time. Just thinking about that, it was very hard for me.
Wow. And then one of the things I was interested in how you interpreted PTSD, you said you couldn't separate reality from recall.
Yes. Like my nightmares and the flashbacks that I have, and it's not just at night. It could be daytime, and I could be going to a food court and somebody, for some reason, smells like Molested, or somebody has the same kind of teeth that he did. Like anything could trigger me. And then in my brain, it was like, you're right back there again. It's just happening again and again and again. And when that happens, you don't know. If you could just snap out of it, that would be great, but I couldn't. Now I know how to do that. So it helps me a lot.
Wow. Is that from going to therapy or through the spirit? How did you learn to, control the triggers?
The triggers, they still come, but the second it onsets, I can tell. I can tell it's about to be happening. And then if I just then grab an ice cube, or I always have essential oils on me, and I just smell the peppermint, just anything that you can smell that smells strong will bring you right back to reality. Your brain completely is like, wait a minute, this is real. This is not real. But it took a long time for me to learn that too,
So when you said that your past and your present met head on, what do you mean by that?
It was, you're talking about the end of the book when I said that. I'm not sure. I think I
dealing
said
with PTSD. I was wondering how.
Yes, I now know what you're referring
Yeah.
to. It was, it's like the PTSD. It was always, like I said, I went through therapy. They put me on Valium. I stopped taking the Valium. But it's always like I'm good for like a year. And then I feel too secure and I'm like, I got this. It's perfect. And then something happens and it triggers me, and then it just collides, and then I feel so guilty because of my kids and my husband. So my past was always interfering with my present.
Oh.
So
figured it out though, because you seem
yes.
to have it down to a fine art now.
Well, it took a lot of time, and but it's possible. It is so possible.
In your church, and Lawrence,
yes,
was the little angel that really
yes
got you going there. Lawrence, hi,
he
Lawrence.
sure
I
did.
have to say hi to Lawrence because he was a little angel.
Lawrence is amazing, and my kids are amazing, and Lawrence didn't give up on me, and he understood that this is who I am. This is me. And he chose to love me for who I am.
And where you were.
Yes, damaged and broken. And he said, we got this. I mean, he prayed for a long time, even before I even thought about praying.
And like Chris, he was really a blessing too, Chris Jones.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I really was honored and respectful to you, excuse me, for acknowledging him in your book. Because a lot of people, they get some assistance from other people, they don't acknowledge them.
That was so important to me because I did have those choices, right? To say no, they said, okay, so this is the cover. And I was like, well, where's Chris's name on this cover? I need him on this cover. We're like, well, normally we don't do that. He's just a ghostwriter. No, he's not. He's not. He's so much more than a
He was
ghostwriter.
definitely so much more than that.
Yes,
And
he
it
was
was,
like my therapist.
I always wanted to ask him at certain sections or
Mhm.
places in the book,
Oh, so hard.
what effect did that have on him as he turned away from that book to live his life? Because he was able to really read your soul.
He was, and we had that instant connection. We really did. And he's a Christian, right? And
Yeah,
we
that just
connected.
speaks for itself.
And
When he put that spirit in that book, I sense a male
yes,
energy of understanding what you were going through. And some
yeah. I
of the
mean, it was
language.
interviews.
Yeah, and some of the language.
I know that Chris had a very rough time, and Chris had to pray me through a lot of those things that we had to talk about. And a lot of times he will have to mute himself because now he's crying, but he didn't want me to know that he's crying because it was always so important to me that, I mean, of course, in the beginning, there was no, we weren't emotionally attached or anything like that. You don't want to talk to people that you were hurt.
Right.
And then the more he knew about my story and the more we talked and met up and all of that, it really kind of became our story, right?
Right. And I sense that, and
Yeah.
and the way God brought y'all together is phenomenal. And Lawrence and your children, it was
Yeah.
like I always tell people, God said He'll restore the years of the locusts, and it appears that seems to be happening in your life.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. It
it's
really is.
really a beautiful thing to witness because when I read the book, I saw you
Mm.
and I saw Chris,
Right.
you know, and it's like that wasn't none but God.
And nothing but God, because I just really don't even think that I could have made it through that process or Chris could have made it through this process. It was hard I know it was hard for Chris. And then he had to ask me those questions that he did not want to ask. And I promised him, I said, I will be as transparent as I can because I feel like I had to lie so much about my whole life. I'm done. I don't want to lie anymore. And I
Right.
want to be transparent because only that is going to help somebody. So he had to ask some terrible questions that he did not want to ask. And a lot of times he'll ask me stuff and I'm like, oh my, can I say that? Like, that's a terrible thing to say.
And I love that book cover, that heart with the bandages on it. That's beautiful.
Yes.
I love that cover. And it was just so well put together. I mean, the spirit part of it, the psychological, emotional. And one of the things that stuck out with me, how alone you were for a long time. You had family members,
Yeah.
but you just didn't die.
I did not. I do have to say, how it says in the Bible, you have to lose your life to gain life. And I did. I did lose that life. And I had to, I feel like we have to lose that life and we have to be completely stripped apart by God so He can help us be put together brand new.
And you also seem to feel that our suffering is for someone else's saving.
Yes. If I now look back and then writing the book, now looking back, now that I walk with God, it's like, wow, I now know He was right there all the time.
All the time.
All the time He was right there. I wasn't ready for Him, but He was ready for me all this time.
Yeah, and it's like you just seem to just really went on by Rolf,
I did.
guy from Germany. And
I really did because
I see that guy from Germany with them yellow teeth.
yes, yes.
Oh God, that was a very well written book. And what is the main thing that you want people to gain when they walk away from reading your book?
I want them to gain hope. And that's what I want to give people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how broken we are. If we work hard, it's hard work. I'm not going to say ever it's easy, but every step that you take and every second that you work, there's going to be hope. And you just let go and let God.
Wow.
Now, instead of turning or being destructive, the second I have bad days. It's not that I wake up and I'm just like, yeah, every day. No. But if I have a bad day, I turn to my Bible. I turn to worship music. I I just I invite the spirit instead of me turning destructive, you know?
So it seemed like to me, eventually you're going to be doing stand-up speaking engagements before crowds of people.
Yes, we had some radio shows, and now I'm here with you, and I'm so thankful that I get to be here with
And I
you.
think your story needs to be shared with a lot of teenage girls
Yes, yes.
because
So
I believe that if they can hear the stories and you're not saying that that's their story, at least they know that they're normal and
yes,
this is not the end of their life, that what happened to them really was not right, just to hear it, because I think it's a lot of teenage girls that's going through that.
yes, and I just feel like the world, the place that we're in right now. I mean, it's a pretty dark place. You hear it everywhere. And just like, with that Me Too movement, right? So I love that so many people come and speak up now, right? But I am so worried that they're just going to say Me Too, and then they're just going to hold their head above water. And I pray every day for everybody that's, saying Me Too, that they take those steps that are required after you say Me Too. It's Me Too. What's next?
Right. Let's go.
So,
Let's go. Make sure everybody else is all right.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And Connie, you're on the Truth Will Set You Free show.
Oh, yes. And it does. It does. It does.
Give us a truth to remember you by.
A truth to remember me by. Um, there's so much, like
I know.
it really
You
is.
can share more than one.
It's it is really insane. Okay, so the one truth that I can tell that as the absolute truth is that God is with you all day, every day. He's always there, always there. Even if you don't see him, even if you don't feel him, is the faith, right? And that to me is the absolute truth. Another truth is to me that life can be so amazing even after all of that. It doesn't matter what we face. It can be amazing. It
and if
really
and if people wanted to get in touch with you and get that amazing book, Mended Faith, how
yes.
do they contact you or get the book?
They can go to my website.
Okay.
It's www.mendedfaith.com. And there's a little bit of my story, and they can contact me through that even, and they can purchase their book on there, and they can contact me. We have a Facebook group, which it's called Mended Faith, and they can reach me through Instagram, Mended Faith. Twitter is Mended Faith. So
Wow.
all the social media, it's all Mended Faith. where they can reach me. And they can reach me at Cornelia Jude at mendedfaith.com if they want to send me emails. And I always try to reply as fast as I can.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on our show today.
Thank you so much
and
for having me.
Always come back, and you can bring Chris whenever you get ready.
Awesome. I would definitely try to do that sometime soon.
Take care.
Okay, bye.